Hey guys, what is going on? In this video, we're talking about how you can build the perfect editing suite for yourself. All right guys, I know if you look behind me, it's a mess. It's actually not completely set up yet, but I've been completely transforming my entire editing system from beginning to end. I'd stripped everything and started from scratch. And what I wanted to talk to you guys about is how you can perfect what it is that you're doing in your editing setup so that you are efficient, so that you can be more creative and spend more time shooting and editing versus dealing with clutter and all that stuff. You know, my system originally, I was running off two computers. I was running off a MacBook Pro and a Mac Pro. Going between these two computers, obviously the Mac Pro is powerful, but I end up using my MacBook Pro all the time because we're traveling. I have to have projects on hard drives with me on the go, so when I get here and I'm like transferring things between computers, things end up getting screwed up and it just takes more time. For me, I've stripped everything. I'm now just gonna work off a MacBook Pro, but then set up my entire editing suite so I can come home, put down my computer, plug it all in, and go. I know some people would say that it's crazy working off a laptop and that's it on your desktop setup, but for me, it makes sense because, you know, there's a few days I'm here, I'm gonna grab my computer, go work at another spot, go work with a client or go work with a friend. Like, I'm all over the place. So I'm not always in this space, but I need the space to be functional when I do show up. So I realized that my setup originally just had a lot of clutter, and there's just a lot of things that I made work with my setup. When I'd come home, you know, I'd figure things out, I'd plug it in, putting cables over here, over there, trying to get stuff to work. I'd have hard drives piled up on either side. Personally, I can work in a cluttered, chaotic situation, but I know it's not ideal. I don't like sitting there with hard drives piled up. There's been days where I've had like 6 hard drives on either side, different projects, you know, plugging it and just throwing stuff all over the place. It's crazy when production is just go, 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 and you don't have time to slow down and really think about your system. So we had a week this week where we weren't traveling, where we weren't shooting a ton of projects. You know, I've had a little bit of work here and there, but nothing crazy. So I took a step back and I looked at my entire editing suite. And so when you're looking at your editing suite, the first thing is finding the problems and finding those areas where you could improve or make things streamlined. That's the first tip I want to give you, is that look at your system, find where there's errors, where there's holes, find out ways you can improve. I sat down and just took notes and wrote down my entire workflow and what was taking me longer and what was hanging me up when I'm trying to edit. So from there, what I did is I made a plan. And that's the second thing, is you have to make a plan before you build your editing suite, before you revamp how you edit. Because when you make a plan, you'll have everything lined up so that when you go to actually start changing things out and buying new equipment, you're not going through and buying things that are unnecessary or moving things to one side of the office and then moving them back to the other side. Like, you gotta really plan it out. You know, I really suggest figure out how you like to edit. And now, what are the components around your editing suite? These are just the technology, the hardware aspects that are gonna make that more functional. For me, I'm moving to just a MacBook Pro. I need a hub, I want 2 monitors, I needed a new 4K monitor, I need access to USB ports, I need access to Thunderbolt. So I wrote down every little port that I needed, every little thing that I needed, basically built a diagram of all the components. So now I know what I need to make this set functional, and I know where I'm at. So what I did is I took all my gear and everything that's not functional anymore, put on eBay, because eBay's a great way to sell old camera equipment, old computer equipment, everything. Everything that I use, I end up selling on eBay and get a decent chunk of money back. Big tip there, you can resell your stuff pretty well on eBay. Okay, so from there, I went through and bought all the components, but I'm not just gonna start putting them into the system right away. And that's kind of why it's a mess back here. So part of my organization and part of my biggest frustration was not only my desk. You know, I had a desk and I had off to the side a bookshelf full of camera equipment and gear and hard drives, and then I had a closet also full of gear. The issue is the closet wasn't functional. So as you can see right there, I've redid it. So I basically stripped the closet, pulled everything out, and then repainted it, put new shelving up, and made it functional for how I would put a closet. And this brings up another point. And this is probably the third big thing I would say when you're redoing your editing setup, is declutter. Get rid of everything that you're not using in your system and that you're not going to use. When I pulled everything out of the closet, I basically looked at each item individually and went by the principle of, do I want it? Do I need it? Do I have to have it? If it doesn't fit one of those 3 categories, it's gone. It's either being sold on eBay or it's being thrown in the trash. And there is definitely a big pile of stuff outside by the trash can that's already gone because we have homeless people that walk up and down, so someone's getting a bunch of cool stuff. But that's a very important part, is declutter. Like, if you don't need it, and if you don't have to have it for what you're doing, then it just comes down to, do you want it? A lot of times you're like, I don't really want it. So get rid of all that, declutter. So I stripped everything out of the closet. I took everything off my desk, pulled everything out of the shelf. All of that is in the other room. What's in here now is stuff I'm keeping. I might go through that again just because I want to clean it off. I've also got like these cubes and different storage things that's basically going to clean that up completely. It's amazing. Over here, I've got just a mountain of cables and monitors and stuff like that. A new monitor just showed up. New other things just showed up. First, I have to get a new desk because this is the desk I'm not using. So I'm kind of in flux at the moment. Probably about 2-3 days, I'm going to completely have this done, set up. I'm gonna do a video all through my setup, all the different components I use, hopefully give you some ideas of things that you can do on your setup. All right, the fourth tip that I wanna give you when you're rebuilding your editing setup is make it fresh. It is what it sounds, make it fresh. So the first thing I did is I repainted the entire room. Well, first, actually, I repainted the closet, stripped it, repainted it, patched up all the walls, did all that stuff, put new shelves in. So it's all brand new. It's fresh. And then I recruited a buddy to come help me paint this room. I was originally just planning to repaint that wall and that wall, which were gray, and the rest was white. But if you've ever painted before, you realize that once you start painting one wall, you're gonna paint all the walls and you're gonna paint the ceiling and everything else, because there's nothing like a fresh coat of paint. Also, things will not match because there's so many different types of white. You know, I chose white. White's gonna make the room bigger. It's gonna make it feel, you know, like more space. I originally chose a dark gray, so I had like a black background to edit against, but you know, honestly, I don't think I'd need it. I'd rather have the white. I'm gonna make it very clean, very minimalistic. So I painted it white. That was all day yesterday and last night. It was a big job. That was a lot of work, but let me tell you, it is fresh. But on top of that, next what I'm doing, which is why I haven't started wiring up things over here yet, is I'm gonna move some outlets. So I'm gonna move a power outlet directly to behind my desk to where I just can plug in, so I'm not stretching cables across the room. Also, I'm moving an outlet into that closet for all the internet, Wi-Fi, printers, all that stuff, because I'm getting it out of sight, out of mind. So when you make it fresh, you basically wanna just completely clean up everything. Because when you come back and you're gonna put all this new gear and equipment, you're gonna rebuild your setup, you wanna have it clean. And I'm not just talking your desk, I'm talking everything around it, your entire flow. So if I'd break it down into a series of 4 tips, 1, look at your current setup. Where are the issues? Where are the flaws? Number 2, make a plan, and that means your equipment and then also everything around your equipment, your entire flow. Number 3 is declutter everything. Just get rid of all the crap. Just get it out of there. You don't need it. Trust me, when you purge all this stuff out of your life, you're gonna feel much better and you're gonna feel more efficient in your workflow. All right, and number 4, make it fresh. And that's, like I was just talking about, cleaning everything up, starting from scratch, making it new. Maybe it's paint, maybe it's a new desk, maybe it's putting hardwood floor down. I don't know, whatever it is for you that's gonna make it fresh and what's gonna work for your setup. All right guys, that is my tips on how to rebuild your editing suite and make it really functional. It all comes down to you. Obviously, each person's setup is gonna be a little different, so I'm not gonna go into specific details in this video of this piece and this component and this. However, as soon as this is done, I'll do a video explaining my entire setup and what works for me, and hopefully you guys will be able to pull some ideas out of that, of things that you potentially could do to add or change your editing setup to make it that much better. All right guys, if you like this video, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on revamping your editing suite. Is this something that you plan on doing in the new year? It's coming up. I highly suggest if you're feeling not efficient, you sit down, take a step back and do this. All right guys, also check us out on Instagram at Wanderworks. My wife and I travel the world, shoot a lot of cool videos, lots of cool stuff coming out on our YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff. So guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next one. I've got a lot of work tonight, so I'm gonna get back to it.